Good afternoon, y'all. Hope you're doing well. I'd like to talk about the Anglican and the Protestant Episcopal Church this afternoon, their history and their contributions to American history. Now, the reason for the two different names is because of a transition that took place in this church early on in its history, or about halfway through its history. Early on in its history, we see it being established with the earliest of permanent English settlements here in America. The founding of Jamestown, that was an Anglican church founded there, or Church of England congregation that was started there. And from that point on, we see the consistent presence of the Church of England in colonial America, and even right to this day in some senses. We'll get to that in a minute, but we see the presence of the Anglican, or the church uh, here in America, and especially in the southern colonies. You see where it becomes the state church of many of the colonial governments in the South: Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, Maryland. That's really some of the areas where you see it rise to its greatest prominence. But like I said, from that point on, you see a consistent presence of the Anglican Church in America. And then over time, with the growth of the independence movement and with the onset of the American Revolution, there's somewhat of a lull in the Anglican Church. Some of this is due to the, I guess you say, the idea of being associated with the Church of England. Some of this is due to the fact that many ministers were loyal to England, and some had already fled to England. Some over time left and went back to England, and so this caused a lull in the Anglican Church in America. After the war, it reorganized as the Protestant Episcopal Church in 1784 under Bishop Samuel Seabury. As far as its contribution to American history, I'd say that it's probably its greatest contribution is its leadership. A host of notable leaders in American history came from the Anglican Church, or the Episcopal Church. To name a few would be George Washington, Richard Henry Lee, Peyton Randolph, Patrick Henry, James Madison, James Monroe, George Mason, Richard Kidder Meade, and even Thomas Jefferson is included in its ranks. They have given at least 11 presidents, which is the most number of presidents of any Christian denomination in America. Also, just a host of legislators, judges, different people who have led our country from the start of its founding right up into its present time. And so the leadership, I would say, would be, looking at its history, its greatest contribution to American society and American history, and the greatest influence it's had has been through its leadership. There's a lot of work. I say a lot. There was some work done early on in the colonial times to help do missionary efforts to reach Native Americans, to reach slaves, and to help also promote the gospel among colonists here in America. Thomas Bray, who was ministering in Maryland, started the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge. This is to help establish libraries in churches and ministers' personal libraries. He also helped start the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel in Foreign Parts. And we've already talked about this when we read about Samuel Davies and his mission to the slaves there in Virginia. And so Thomas Bray, Anglican clergy in Maryland, was instrumental in getting these things started to help provide literature and to provide books to reach out to these people and to help the churches here in America to better minister. And so some of the reasons why we don't see the Anglican Church rise to the place of prominence, I guess you can say, that you do some of the other Christian denominations here in America. There's a few problems it had. One thing being just kind of a general lack of aggressiveness. Secondly, the fact that there was no bishop here, no local leadership here in America. Thirdly, I would say that one of the problems would be the fact that if you was a minister, you'd have to go all the way to England to be ordained. And a number of people couldn't afford the trip, and if they could, they were scared to risk it to go to England to be ordained. And then over time, the work in America came to fall under the jurisdiction of the Bishop of London. And there was never an American bishop ordained and put in place to help control the churches here, to help promote the churches here in America. So this would be some weaknesses and some reasons why we really just don't see the prominence that it has as compared to the other churches. But again, looking at its history, looking at the influence that it has, I would say its greatest contribution to American history would be the notable leaders that it has produced and given to the United States. Thank you.